Alright, listener, this is 88.7 Arua 1 FM, Sema Yote. The song fading out there is Corruption by Thomas Mafumo. Mikedo Ongodi Lepi Kiaribo Inirama. It's ready. You must be guessing what is coming up next in this discussion. And today, the Agbatara starts in style. 4 minutes past 10 a.m. This is the Agbatara. Mama Ripidi. Karibu imini Ruwezia lwalusi idozu sasu dizukuzu sazia ama midreya bataraidi radio gogo anielenia amadileka ndundulia Andrew, just like you've heard from that song that faded, corruption. Now our topic of the day is the fight against corruption. I have distinguished speakers or guests with me in the studio. I'll be able to introduce them one by one. What you have to do is just stay tuned to your radio 88.7 Arua 1 FM, Sema Yote. There are chronologies of events in this country. We'll be able to talk about that. But first, let me introduce the guests. We were expecting to have the Member of Parliament for Marachako constituency, that's Oguzuli, and unfortunately he's unable to be with us physically in the studio, but virtually he'll be able to connect us. That is the beauty of technology. Then I have the Assistant RCC Arua, that's the Deputy RCC Arua, Mr. Matua Job Richard. It's my first time, by the way, interacting with him physically. We've just been sharing a lot. The lighter moment outside there. Mr. Matua, you're most welcome to the studios of 88.7 Arua 1 FM.
Yeah, thank you very much, my brother.
Yes.
You could have seen me for the first time.
Oh,
but I've been in the space and everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doing my duty.
Yes.
Good morning, my other brothers who are here.
Good morning.
And good morning, the people who are listening to us.
Yes, that is the man backing there. When you've been following on online social media and other spaces, then today you are listening to him live on the radio, Arua 1 FM studios. I also have with me the former speaker, Arua Hill, the then Arua Hill division. Now, things have changed a lot. Now it's a city, and of course the administrative units have changed. The former speaker, the then Arua Hill division, in the then Arua municipality, Draku Aziz, I must admit that has been a while, by the way.
Absolutely, yeah. I agree. I think the last time I was here had been 2 years ago, when we had some conversation with the partners, because basically I was supporting refugee empowerment within the communities. I'm profoundly humbled and pleased to be part of this conversation.
It's quite interesting that you are still strong and moving on.
Yeah, this is our town, this is our country. Yes. We are proud Ugandans. Yeah. It's our responsibility and duty to ensure we take it on.
It's a pleasure to reunite again.
Thank you.
I have someone from the civil society organization, and I think I and you play a role in checking. They call it balance and checks, and also advocating for the rights of the citizens and the ordinary person. So he's here. He's my colleague. He's Atibuni Emmanuel. He works with the civil society organization. Maybe the pleasure to enlighten the listener more about that.
It's a great pleasure once again to be here with the great people like RCC, Arua, and my hobby and my great friend, Aziz. And as you had just alluded at
when
the
you
beginning,
say OB, can you mention for us the school so that we benefit from that good news?
Yeah, it's a great school, and you will never forget that name. And it's the public school of Arua City. That's Arua Public SS.
Oh, and it's very organized, the school. I want to confirm.
Absolutely.
The current head teacher is doing a great job there. Are you supporting him?
And all the students and the former students are very smart and organized as the school. Thank you.
That's the voice. That is Mr. Atibuni Emmanuel. Yes. Now, everybody, amadifi topic ya mavu andromalia iza anyangolo beri madria. Ayutarabo ikabi yola osisi edresi karibi oneneone ntundu ibipi fupiri eridi kuba bia azisi riba bi periodini di anyangolo dia. The chronology of events. Well, recently the president came out openly and declared another war against corruption. There have been issues in Parliament of course, the saga about commissioners of parliament moving to impeach, the MPs moving to impeach Matthias Mpuga, Prosim Babazi, Esther Foyo-Chan, Solomon Siluanyi. These are all commissioners who are accused of allegedly sharing 1.7 billion taxpayers' money. This was in a leaked document, of course, as service reward. Then recently you see MPs arrested, accused of conspiracy to defraud government of more than 7.3 billion shillings. This is another episode. Then the president coming out during the State of the Nation address to say that these people are joking and they are abusing their heroes who came to fight against such vices when they lost the bush war in Luero. This was their number one mission, to make the country very, very good for the citizens to live in. And the president also repeated his message during the budget reading. But we are talking at a time when the budget appropriation bill is being returned by the president to the parliament, saying that the appropriation bill or the budget was tampered with. Of course, the reasons are there. We are going to divulge the details in our discussions. Now, let me start with the Assistant RCC.
My pleasure.
Yes, I want you to give context. Anyangolo sadresi amani ongo ngozu runisi anyangolo kanku corruption. It has become a rhetoric. And we are yet to see, because there are critics who think that, is it a lip service?
Yes.
By the government to always promise fight against corruption? But I first want you to give a context on corruption.
Thank you very much, my moderator, for this morning.
Please back it for that matter.
Good morning once again.
Yes.
Bakita, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa
barakatuh. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
The people who are listening to me here, I am going to use two languages simultaneously. Simultaneously, together. I will start with English and then Lubara, because the subject matter before us is very critical for national interest. Countrymen and women, Matua Job Richard is my name, the Assistant Resident City Commissioner, Arua City. My jurisdiction covers the whole city. There was a confusion when Commissioner Bako was being transferred to Arua City Central Division. I found some of my people very stressed that I have been transferred to Maracha. So I want to clarify that I am for Arua City. So Commissioner Bako has been brought for Assistant Resident City Commissioner Central Division, together with another sister of ours from Jumani, Commissioner Dibaireo Fiona. They are in that office of Central Division. Now, I have been requested to put context to this conversation, which I want to do with clarity. My brother moderator and my other brothers here, my brothers and sisters who are listening to us, Uganda has a policy of zero tolerance to corruption.
On paper.
Uganda has a policy of zero tolerance to corruption.
On paper?
This policy has been reinforced by a number of other policies and laws. To begin with, the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995.
As amended.
As amended. You can mention if you're a lawyer. If you go to, the Constitution has structures of the Constitution, one of which is the national objectives and directive principles of state policy. National objectives and directive principles of state policy. Objective 26 reads, accountability.
Yeah.
Roman 1. All public offices shall be held in trust of the people. Roman 2. All persons placed in positions of leadership and responsibility shall, in their work, be answerable to the people. So the people are at the center. Roman 3. All lawful measures shall be taken to expose, Mark, please moderator, if you could write this down, to expose, to combat, and eradicate corruption and abuse or misuse of power by those holding political and other public offices. Yes? As a country, Uganda has objective, the aims of Uganda, one of which is accountability, and clearly highlighted by the 3 Roman that I have read to that effect. The Constitution goes ahead to give actually to establish. This is what I want countrymen and women to know, that the government of National Resistance Movement is committed to fighting corruption, and I want to lay ground to that. In Article 226 and 227, if my brothers who are with me here can be, you know, when you state an article, the law requires that you read it in verbatim, so that you can bring the clarity of it. That Article 226 and 227 established the Office of Inspectorate of Government, and gave it sweeping powers. I want to emphasize that. And gave it sweeping powers to deal with corruption, consistent with the provisions of the Objective 26 about accountability. So the question we need to answer is, has that office really lived to the test given in the Constitution? And I will answer in negative. You know, this is a legal term. Maybe I can simplify it. You know,
the ordinary person has to listen.
In negative, I mean the Inspectorate of Government has not done enough to fight corruption, and I will give reasons to that effect. It is one of the missing links in our attempt to deal with this dangerous disease, virus called corruption.
Okay.
Yes, my brother?
I understand you.
I have come here to speak the truth, and I will speak the truth and only the truth, nothing else. Now, before I'm bringing the context, please, I'm about to finish the context. Uganda, again, has what we call the National Ethical Values Policy. Are you there?
Yeah.
If the cameraman can do me justice here, and bring it. Uganda has what we call the National Ethical Policy, Values Policy. But this is what you must know as even the journalist and the leaders.
Very much.
I'm told my brother Aziz, Haji Aziz, is an upcoming mayor of the city. I'm not campaigning for him per se. My duty does not need me to campaign for anybody. I'm for all of them. Uganda has what we call the National Ethical Values Policy. Yes? And there are 4 pillars. By the way, Uganda's values policy is anchored in our slogan, in our motto, for God and my country. Accordingly, 4 pillars have been designated to support that policy. Pillar 1 is systems, standards, and procedures of service delivery. Government has come up with systems, standards, and procedures of service delivery so that we prevent corruption. Policies and legal frameworks, which I will read, required human resources, accountability and reporting measures, including mass media and civil society organizations. All of these are to reinforce the policy of zero tolerance to corruption.
Okay.
Now, therefore, I want to say that Uganda actually, the government of the Republic of Uganda has a strong policy, a strong framework to deal with corruption. That is the context I want to put in English. If you can allow me to bring it in vernacular very shortly.
Just summarize briefly.
Ba meri ba service di ejon jefi mitro di ere emiadri matoa job Richard. Ma indru RCC no squara DC de number nase Arua city de. Bon vendru matwa agbatara gba eyo aramu de suru amade de mariarisi. Ale di mini yo aramu de madri eyo di warare ngoni areba. Kini kari amadeba no ve Uganda de iberoche ayota mapala. Ayota Uganda de sadisi amochepe di ba ofuandare elili falo turoro mikal kalorom dini tausi. De ayota ambo ano ve constitution Uganda de. Ika mu constitution de Maria ayota de meseri ave bonve afa asilete Uganda nele suru amade madringoni are. National objectives de and directive principle of state policy de ugarabati sereye ikamo eremesale da kaliri nyazia maria nje yo adumadria accountability madria esale okore okini all public offices shall be held in trust of the people papiri office te obi de maria re irifi office da maria obi marusi obi maparia office da reneko ata office madman adozone matoa mana adozone RCC de ademane ko erobini ereminiyo madrie te kam office da sadese azikati lembo akiri secretary ni choma zeche ngonero office da ademane ko arelo di obi marusi agwo zike mu mavane afadike bangavini minga katilo kodi aleria lwadi niko matibo adoni obi ni pale lakini all persons placed in position of leadership and responsibility shall in their work be answerable to the people. Batabane ba pari obi mayos mazakozuri inga eyo idri onvi obi matia eyazinga obi marusi obi mayosi adringaki eyo ehimi mazikuyo.
Okay.
Miche beri eyo disi gamete tedi amadi NRM redi eyo diadrado ife di ayota amadi ambo kari di maria ayota di isele tururi kalidi ni Asia atin tururi kalidi ni aziri feke di ofisi ya di ambo ogwe i aramo fupi amadi di ardi bano ve IG Inspectorate of Government aguni sati alere area manvi beti kamia namisango olive ofisi di redi ya mani da aramo redoraya kaniyoya maye moyodo mvi mine di ara
Mbele ya rudi
dike rizo afa
amadi emwava alideka kaliri
Uganda sidia ama ayot afa policy dia dan sadriza zini lezukini ba Uganda de ma ura ini azur madringoni ejo Uganda de inla za de kodi ma koki ura ngolerisi bonve national ethical values policy ikati Uganda ni l'état des amis de madringoleri eri afa ola ambo amanike ni for God and my country
zita amadi ofisi ni amaza Korea ya alelu ilo kan kuyo
ma moyo de omvira afini mangadi yo
sanya matoto amadi computer dia dadan siri ati
ma yo omvira ifini manga yo di wararelo ata bika news la ni yo di wararelo mi dimo yo ma di ngoni ya eche mi choba ni sa sanit fera ma moyo de omvira at the right time
all for pa matua job Richard assistant RCC Arua taking Arua city Arua resident city commissioner assistant ayotadwara amapie pa even studio rwati former speaker Arua Hill Drakuaziz Atibune Emmanuel atelemi radio magaya kale rodniaro duazi Arua one farmer sema yote amandu yonze aidi anyangolo verima driadini ama adi former speaker Arua Hill division Drakuaziz Matia Tamba Drakuaziz mega mi be yo assistant RCC ni nzedi yare maziki utivara dika zita dia mboni zili kini kuyo IGT zita dia reta IGT ni azakoma intale amantale isu ilivuri isu dia isu amesukuli te matevino dia let's go on record. I think there are many institutions in this country who have the mandate also to support in the fight against this vice. Tiale mvuda malia kuwalenga yuari Drakuaziz Matia yor mazima alia modo munyas kunsi yo bewari parliament be the president also has some powers. Iyo kakitsa abadiliabo he can intervene just like we have seen him starting to intervene. Te bazi bikizita zi yori u sangir leari amavini muyor mali nyadiara. Yes, atamva Drakuaziz.
Thank you so much, Havis, Brother Havis, and Commissioner Matua for your submission. It was very elaborate. And of course, we have to appreciate and acknowledge that our country, Uganda, is one of those that are very beautiful in this world when it comes to laws. Uganda literally has been regarded as one of the countries that has produced the best laws. So if we stood by the principles of building this country and by the principles of the laws that were put, I think talking corruption now will not be very, very important. And of course, if you look in terms of the arms of government, the executive, the legislature, the judiciary, you really understand this corruption has been almost literally in all these areas. But of course, this is not the first time that Uganda is having a parliament. Uganda started having parliament since from the time we had independence. But why is this very parliament on spot? This is the biggest question. And what kind of lessons are local government councils learning from this? What kind of lesson are the Ugandans from other levels learning from this? Is it only stopping in the parliament? This is the biggest question. I can categorically say, Ndugu Hafiz,
Yes.
fighting corruption in Uganda may not be on pen and paper. It is mind change. It is attitude. The behavior of the country. Let the Ugandans have a reflection. Where have we been during the time of independence? Where are we? Where do we want the future of the country to be? This is the role of the government, the role of the civil society, the role of the development partners.
Okay.
We are all responsible and we must take responsibility. Here, I am looking at the principles of the country, especially now of NRM government. Patriotism, Pan-Africanism, socio-economic transformation, and democracy. Now, looking at what has happened in the parliament, the president's observation and statements. This is not for the first time our president, beloved president, is talking about this. He has in very many occasions talked about, let's speak the truth. He has denounced corruption. He has put institutions to fight corruption, but it has not ended. Really, with this, shall we achieve socio-economic transformation? Out of the 45.9 million Ugandans now, what is the income level? So really, it is a serious issue. I want Commissioner to take responsibility. I want Ndugu Atibuni to take responsibility. I want Arua one to take responsibility. Let us have a reflection to say, where were we, where are we now, and where do we want this country to head? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I can say this is deliberate, this is very dangerous, and this cannot be accepted by me as an individual in this country.
Okay. Yes. Mr. Atibune Emmanuel, as the civil society organization, Miazinga Civil Society Organization there, amebita leo la ndundundu chronology can ku events ibipi unfold ipi Uganda dikumatia. Eka now there's what we call the appropriation bill. Andra bill eriandra dimu 7 vo erite mu siginita ba kan ku ditidnia. The president mu amari ni kini kuyo ini afari amari ya love in the budget di madira, and the responsibility goes back to the parliament. Parliament is accountable to the citizens. The citizens voted the MPs to go and represent their interests and their views. So basically parliament yayo ki imu budget di male nyara isune sende aziki ba allocate ta priorities taking parimini interne baka send da balenia ba ordinary people it's okay benefit equally. So imuki loki ozaki send di mapariki parita ene tozo mafikiria. Now there are also inside sources who actually have revealed, told the media that, you know, they have realized that there are some members of parliament, or the parliament is fighting for some interests. It's like in a senator in temporary there, ibiki send azimadriki law mi isune MPs ki send aziki the institutions where they have interest can ku pariesta ini nai benefit irani maria. Now, ordinarily, as a citizen, as an ordinary Ugandan, I'll look at parliament as a savior, because you as a kakidi mandate abatenzo parliament. But we are seeing that this is happening with the institution that we are supposed to be running to. What is happening? And maybe first shed light about this appropriation bill. If in ngoni leta madri ngoni, iyo MP reasons MP ni fe it's ofiraya kanku so sister mani are the reasons ni fe kin lo budget maziki. There must be something sinister happening that maybe the ordinary person is not understanding.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bakiti and my colleagues, the commissioner and my good friend Aziz. You know, what you have asked is a very pertinent issue, and Uganda has a representative parliament, which means all these MPs who are sitting at parliament are a representative of over 40 million Ugandans. And their key role is to appropriate all the resources. And these resources must go to benefit the ordinary Ugandan who has not even seen how the tarmac road looks like, who has no time even to go to pick drugs from the nearest health center. Some of these health centers are very far from these people. They depended so much on the roots of the trees, the leaves and other things. However, what you see happen today, as this had put earlier on, as the commission has put, it is a syndicate. People have
that's actually what the president said.
Yes, people have been benefiting from this kind of loot, and it has been long. And remember, when you see people crying, one person has not benefited somewhere. So I'm trying to let you know that the parliament, as Aziz had put it, is not just today. It has been there for so many years. But the law of appropriations talks about equity. You have to put all this money to ensure that people actually benefit from this money. People have personal interests that they put before the public interest. And when you look at these MPs who have been arrested, most of them are in a financial committee. And remember, I want us to have a reflection. Remember the talk between the leader of opposition and the speaker. When they rejected some particular MPs to be in that finance committee, and the speaker insisted and other members insisted to allow these members to remain. And how long has it taken that these corruption issues are coming out? I'm not saying they are corrupt, but there's a syndicate where every other leader in Uganda benefits from this, leaving the ordinary Ugandan in total abject poverty. Looking at the recent release, you'll find close to close to 41.7 Ugandans live in poverty. This is a recent release, just last year. What does this mean to you? Look at 7 billion that is being taken away in a very funny way, allocating to the areas where they are going to benefit as individuals. And this 7 billion, if you divide this 7 billion by the number of Ugandans who are supposed to benefit from this money, it's not an easy thing. And according to the release, Daily Monitor, you'll find that 1 million Ugandan shillings is lost every hour in Uganda due to corruption. And when you total this, close to 8.9 trillion is lost to corruption every year. And yet, Uganda's debt burden is 96.1 trillion. Out of this, 44.6 trillion is domestic and 52.8 trillion is foreign. And Uganda relies so much on borrowed money, and which borrowed money is never used. If it is used, not even half of it is used to do what it is being borrowed for. And I love what President Museveni is doing. He has always come out to do this. But my question is, where has his statements end when it comes to fighting corruption? I want to draw your mind back to the former IGG boss, Irene. She made a statement, and it was on Daily Monitor It was in June 2018. She says the big guys in the government who are corrupt hide behind Museveni. That's why he has failed to fight. And they are very strong. And who are these? For me, the corrupt Ugandans, the leaders, have taken our president at ransom, much as he has absolute power to ensure that corruption is dealt with.
Why should they take him at ransom? I mean, it's a big question. It's what I keep on wondering. Why should someone take the president at ransom?
I asked an earlier question. I said, he has come out always to fight corruption. Where has it ended? How many people have been taken to jail?
Maybe
I can answer that question.
I'm about just to read about the biggest corruption scandals in the country. 9 corruption scandals to
We
look
could
back
allow-
at.
we could allow him
And
to finish and then give him
where
some answers.
people like you and I and other Ugandans think that actions, and some of these people are living large. That's the biggest question. Matua, you have talked a lot, but we
I
are
wanted
asking
him to
about the
finish his,
practicability.
have you finished?
I mean, yes.
No,
yes.
absolutely, absolutely. Bakit, allow me to say this. When you look at the fight of corruption in Uganda, you and I, and everybody is involved in fighting this. We have laws. Uganda has the best laws to fight corruption. Who pretends this on these laws? And where has all the corruption tendencies ended? If few have been taken, how much money has been brought back? Has it been public known that the money that has been brought back, it has remained on the papers?
I know, Madri was
So-
itching to respond
Yes,
to you.
I wanted him
But
to come up.
we should. I want to make this disclaimer. We should not be here to protect what is wrong. We
These are honest
should be
discussions.
here to speak the honest part of our minds
Actually, I
and for the
wanted to-
benefit of the Ugandans.
Yeah.
So much money has been lost.
Yes.
I wanted my brother
Arua,
to, first of all, I want to thank my brother, Mr. Tibuni, for his submission. You know, when we come here to talk about corruption, we should not try to sugarcoat it. I like it when people speak their mind. This is a national crisis. So I want to respond to some of the issues he has raised. Where I agree with him, I will agree. Where I don't, I will
Disagree.
respectfully disagree.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's always there.
First of all, I want to inform my brother, Mr. Atibuni, that the fight of corruption that you see the president leading is genuine, it is real, and it is very objective. And the president is doing it after being informed by all the intelligence agencies of the dangers ahead of us. I can tell you, if we don't control this government, we can even lose power. We are threatened. Actually, corruption has threatened us more than any rebellion ever in the history of Uganda. But before I could respond to you, I want to give something very, very important. You know, when we come here for national conversation, the conversation must be guided toward the same direction. Uganda has Vision 2040. It states, Uganda wants to be a transformed country from peasant to modern and prosperous country within 30 years. Peasantry is about growing crops for home consumption, but also the urban peasant who don't do agriculture. Those who work hand to mouth. If you have not done ledger today, you are not eating. If you have done, you will eat. They are also peasants, by the way. So the definition of peasantry should not be restricted to a farmer, subsistence farmer.
But
Are you getting me?
I am sorry.
I'm coming
yes.
there. I'm coming. I know why I'm telling you something like that.
Yes.
Now, modernity is about moving away to good life from using the buses to go to Kampala. If we introduce speedy train, an hour you're in Kampala, that's modernity. Prosperity is remaining in that good life. Now, our advance to that modern and prosperous country can be perfectly inhibited by corruption. This is where I am now coming.
Okay.
You get me? That we are left with 16 years to reach there where Uganda want to reach. The question is, what are the roadblocks ahead of us? One of the major roadblocks ahead of us is corruption. Therefore, fighting corruption is just and right. Yes? Now, the President of the Republic of Uganda has given strategic direction, strategic guidance, my brother moderator, to see that we could advance, progress to Vision 2040, to realization of Vision 2040. That guidance is socio-economic transformation of society. In fact, I have been sent to precisely deal with corruption and promote socio-economic transformation, which I am doing effectively. Now, my brother has raised some fundamental realities which I want to really dive deeper into it. The corruption in Uganda has reached to a higher level. It is now syndicated, interconnected corruption. My boss, who is the President of the Republic of Uganda, has come out publicly to declare that there is corruption in the parliament. I therefore want to confirm that there is corruption in parliament, and I'm going to justify. Yes? Now, the corruption is not only in parliament alone. The MPs who are corrupt are doing it together with some government agencies, officials in Ministry of Finance, and some accounting officers. Here is what happened, if you didn't know. When the budget was about to be passed, some MPs in the budget committee, around 5 MPs were selected, locked in a room to distort the budget
Very interesting
They
conversation.
distorted 750 billion.
Conversation.
Yeah.
But you will come with that because my computer is reading red.
Okay.
You will have to go for a break.
Okay.
Listener, that is the voice of Matua Job, the Deputy RCC Arua City, elaborating actually some of the issues surrounding the parliament and also some of the issues related to corruption in Uganda. We'll be back with a discussion.
The budget worth 750 billion only brought the budget to the other committee member to sign in a conference room A, which MPs were made to pass without scrutiny. Then nobody must try to really sweep under the carpet that corruption. It was bad. My brother Atibuni and the rest of the listeners who are listening to me and my other brothers in the studio here, the corruption in cooperative society union, it involved over 30 MPs and 5 ministers. I was surprised that even MPs made sure their names were edited from the final list of the report that came out. That itself was corruption. Now the question is, one of the main duties, constitutional mandate of MP is to exercise oversight. Can a compromised person who is corrupt do that work? This question needs to be answered. If not, who is doing that work on behalf of the people of Uganda? Remember, MPs are representatives of the people. Yes? I tell you, now you can see, my brother is now bringing an angle as if it is the leadership failure. That's why fighting corruption is not effective. My answer is no. Why? The population itself, the people of Uganda, like glorifying corruption. I am a victim, my brother Tibuni, of being rejected to be dated by a girl because I was poor. So if I was obscenely rich because of stolen money, maybe this girl would have, given it to love me. I am a victim. Right now, there is a fasting going on, prayer going on in Honorable Mawanda's constituency. Can you imagine some CVDs, the so-called Pentecostals, have gathered there that to pray for somebody who's a corruption suspect? What does that tell you about the mindset of Ugandans in the fight against corruption? People may even begin to defend because they are tribesmen. They are from the same district. They are from the same church. Bringing unnecessary solidarity. I'm sorry to bring it in short form. Unnecessary solidarity. So the population like glorification of wealth without finding the sources of the wealth. So that is one of the main missing links, my brother Mr. Tibuni. Also, you, the civil society organization, you are very corrupt. There was one that had a seminar somewhere, a workshop somewhere in a hotel. I don't want to mention because they will blackmail the hotel. They have been pestering the workers of the hotel to give their card. Now, a corrupt civil society that is claiming to be the watchdog, can really a compromised watchdog that is corrupt really watch another corrupt dog, or it may even join the other dog to support it in the corruption venture? Yes, my brother. So let us go to the church in Arua here. A preacher, Atolo in Lubara, was strangled to death. Why? Do you know why? The Atolo got corrupted, gave the PDM money to the daughter, to the son, and to the wife. Remember, the policy is each household is supposed to receive once 1 million. So what the community members did, they got annoyed and said, okay, Atolo, it would send the world, it would million in the world, Bama would send the misazo, Banji Atolo ni kai. Arua dia.
But yeah, I like that.
What injury ni? Can you send the world?
Can I pick from there?
Yes, it would send the world. Mama Sadimini. So corruption, therefore, I want to say, does not have, I'm concluding, does not have a religion, does not have a tribe, does not have a sex, does not have a color, does not have age bracket. Corruption is a human sin, it is a human weakness that we must deal with without bias when we are fighting it.
Okay, let's move to the Honorable Member of Parliament for Maracha constituency, Honorable Oguzuli. He has been following us. I know it's quite important because Parliament has been touched here, so I believe he will be able to respond to some of the issues and some pertinent questions that will go to him as a Member of Parliament. We would expect him to actually respond to us. Honorable, are you getting us? Yes, hello, Honorable. Oh, there seems to be a technical challenge here. Well, as we sort it out, let me move briefly to Honorable Aziz Daku.
Thank you so much, Hafiz, and our beloved Commissioner Andetibuni for all those elaborate
Yes, we seem to be having Honorable online now. I think let's take this opportunity because it has been hard getting to him from here. It has been challenging, I think, because of some technical issues. Let's try this. Honorable, are you getting us? You're live on the radio. Yes, I can hear you now.
Mingoni Amadri, Azimichi.
Azimindi.
Azimigonya Gonya, Madri.
Honorable Mastudio Atamva Matua Job Richard, Deputy RCC, Arua Sitierbe, Mabe Wavini Chiri, former Speaker Arua Hill Draku Azizi, Dikavine Atibuni Manueli, Maru Hafiz Bakiti. And said, why you treatable Yoramazi Leki Parliament in Su of Imvua be Parliament indi. Now, maybe the first question I prepared to you is that there is a process, ongoing process, to impeach MPs who are actually accused of sharing 1.7 billion taxpayers' money. I'm sure you are aware about that. Have you appended your signature?
Authority is derived from people, but the people are not asserting themselves. Oh, we can the parliament here, they get there to rule the people. Back to box, we are talking. Back. So, I know you're even here, you go on. If they are not exercising their powers to call leaders to account.
Okay.
So there is a motion on, and the MPs are supposed to sign. The motion is not saying this, the commission has agreed. The motion is saying we should come and discuss how we can themselves that money. Was it in the one plan of Parliament? Did it go through the approval process? And that's when we can be able to conclude and make a decision on whether this money was actually approved by Parliament. And why is it that some people are not willing to have this discussion open on floor of Parliament? So the summary is that the motion is on, and the voters should call the MPs to sign the motion so that we can have discussion.
Okay.
If you could allow me,
maybe how many of the Western MPs have signed that?
Okay.
Before you go
Honorable
offline,
Aziz Zitada Agbi, as could say, Amanio de Rea, Amabini Adriango, Amabini Adre, Juzaro, Reale, Alete Ni, MP Amavo de for the neighbor, as could say, Ikane, Andra, ya Kenya, just the neighboring country, Kenya, there was that tax bill, and a popular one. MPs connive given it Madrid Uganda muki to actually pass that unpopular bill as Adam Stapanile kone zidi nyarura ba fuki street ya ba muki pere parliament yo nyoke afaki kinile mukpere afa state house yani, meaning that bill was unpopular misu neta minyoborle ba ama as matipe alara emivini mu edo decisions unpopular ba pieri idu Aziz Zitada so onyero arezokine me you are actually fronting, you have signed your petition. But Aziz kido yokolose le kiti ba mari moduko ko amavo westna lalle ama area ngone yo beperu dibe.
Ama yonki anyambolo bank different. By the way, 5% corruption accounts for 5% of the revenue leaks in Uganda. And right now, Anyambolo is selling in Uganda is $1 trillion a year, according to ICE. And this is 5% of the revenue loss. The money has been leaks. The 30% is through illegal activities. And the 65% is through commercial activities, maybe by multinational by companies failing to pay tax, through tax exemptions. You know that Uganda government is exempting multinationals, and as a result they are not paying trillions of tax. And how does that happen? It happens when the executive, led by the chief finance minister, who is the president, brings a proposal that we have to exempt certain groups of people. The MOPs the pass it. Why don't you reject it, Madi? we do not reject it because the MPs are like a rubber stamp. President Yodemi Euro Biti. The president said he needed MPs who go to sleep. Is that voting an NRM who comes here to sleep? Is better.
So, Honorable, are you confirming to us that the head of the state actually is somehow responsible for some of these things?
Yeah, actually I agree with that notion that the head of the state is the one contradicting the country. For example, the new ICT came and said there needs to be a lifestyle audit. And the president said you don't know. You can't do this in this country. Okay, Mato will be able to respond.
I even have the video.
Maybe before you
This appropriation bill which has been returned to Parliament, you know that it was proposed by the president, brought to Parliament by someone delegated to the president who is the finance minister. They moved the motion to have this bill approved. Now he's saying it is not. You hear the budget speech of the president. He thanks the speaker and the chief justice for leading a very transparent budget process. How did this transparency change all of the sudden?
The president and there are sources who claim that some MPs actually in the House are appropriating budget to areas of their interest and institutions because they want a cut out of that.
Mr. Moderator,
that is what the president discovered. Is that true?
If I could respond before my brother goes off here.
Follow us because there will be a point we also want to listen to you again.
Moderator, before the commissioner comes in,
let me
just want to make an addendum.
Let me respond immediately to certain thing before my brother goes away.
Yes, it is just an addendum to what Honorable MP
He's
said.
on
Honorable
radio.
MP, I just want to thank you so much for putting that on record. I also want to add that I want the commissioner not to take this personal, but I want us to discuss.
Because we say we are talking the truth.
Because the truth is this.
There's nothing
when
personal.
When we look at the corruption in Uganda,
yes.
I told you earlier on, it is the leadership. For example, the speaker blocked the discussion on the floor of parliament about the 1.7 billion. What was her interest? Number two, Mama Bukedia FM got 3 billion advertising contract award. Is it the only FM station in Uganda? What due process did it follow? And the speaker's open defense given to Sisi, who was arrested because of the corruption issue. I mean, the corruption has been syndicated. Even now in the main offices, when you go to the offices, before even you are served, if you do not give Kitu Kidogo, something small, you will never be supported. And we are saying we need to have an open-minded discussion on corruption.
What?
And much as we appreciate the work of the president, the work of the RCC, but there's so much for them to do. But I also want to disagree a little bit with the Honorable MP about blaming the population not standing out. Whose role is to make the population know their rights. Many Ugandans today have gotten used to. There's no proper whistleblower protection for these people. When they blow off this, they'll be arrested. I want to let Honorable give us, the commissioner give us something. When he blew, he gave information sometime back. You ask him what kind of messages he got about that. Thank you. Uganda has been rated as number 26 highly corrupt country in the world by Transparency International Index. Out of the 100.
Okay. Now let's give RCC
Uganda we are living in. Very corrupt
honorable
Yes.
member of parliament, who's actually my MP by I'm from Maracha,
Yes.
made some sweeping allegations, some of which needed really an authoritative response from government.
You are right to do
And
that.
as a government representative from the office of the president here, it would be just to give me a fair chance to respond
And
to some
that's
of the
exactly what
allegations.
we are doing. He was just adding so
To
that
begin with, I want to thank my brother Honorable Oguzuri for admitting that there is corruption in parliament, which I stated here. Parliament is an arm of government. Executive is an arm of government. So that admitting that is being honest. I thank him for that. Number two, I want to thank him for leading the group of MPs in trying to mobilize signatures to censor their own colleagues, whom they have now agreed with the population that took money that they should have asked them before. Now, I want to come to the allegations he raised and objectively dissect them. To begin with, who is responsible for the corruption in Uganda? Chapter 6 of 1995 Constitution talks about the legislature as the third arm of government. Government is made up of the three trinities: the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. Now, that article 79 of under chapter 6 of the 1995 Constitution gives us functions of Parliament of Uganda. There are four folds. One, making laws for the good governance of Uganda, appropriating the budget which the executive brings is appropriated, is scrutinized by MOPs, not the ordinary Ugandan. By the way, not councillors in an LC5 council, not district councillors. Yes? To exercise oversight. Oversight here means to find out whether the money they appropriated has been effectively used by the local government or by the agencies to which they appropriated the budget, and finally to represent the people. So if there is the corruption to begin with from the very organ which is having the sweeping mandate to make laws, the sweeping mandate to appropriate budget, the sweeping mandate to carry out oversight. So I want to push back that thing to him. So if parliament is corrupt, then that is where the failure of fighting corruption emanates from. Yes? And I want to give justification. When I went to the floor of parliament to submit for NSSF, actually the committee almost wanted to turn me into a suspect when I was a good Ugandan, a witness who had gone to give testimony for the good of Uganda. They almost turned me into a suspect.
I read about plans to
In fact, there was even a point when they made me to take an oath. When they asked me a wrong question. So they asked me a question whether they asked me a wrong question, and I gave them the answer to that question, and they turned it around. So therefore, I want to say, we are failed. One of the missing links in our failure to fight corruption effectively is having a parliament that is compromised. Yes, that's one of the missing links. Because I can tell you, when they were following the money for cooperative union, there are MOPs, more so from opposition, who went to ask the permanent secretary, Ministry of Trade, Industries and Cooperatives, Madam Geraldine Sali, to give them money to facilitate their move in the field. Yes? Now, can now such a person who is again soliciting a bribe, again want to be the one to pretend over it? Yes? Now, the third thing is, who were those who distorted the budget that the Honorable is talking about? They were MOPs. So the question is, what have they done as MOPs to empower themselves, to immunize themselves, so that they themselves are not corrupt and defend the interest of the people of Uganda? Yes? So why should you wait for the president to come and tell you that there was corruption in the parliament? In any case, I want to ask the Honorable, was he aware of the distortion of the budget done by the MOPs? If he was aware, what did you do? Yeah, now for the service award, I want to tell you something very interesting. A week before awarding himself for the service award, the infamous Obosini Service Award, Honorable Matthias Mpuga, the former leader of opposition, went to Butambala district Butambala district is in Buganda, Buganda.
That's not the most important now.
Let me give you information because it will back my case.
No, I like the information you're going to give.
My brother, please.
I'm just talking about the area.
Yes. Look here. He went to Butambala for visiting government institutions there. He went to Bolo Health Center 3. You know, there are very many of my Muslim brothers and sisters in that area. That place has a big population. So the health center there is overstressed. And they have been looking for 500 million to raise the Bolo Health Center 4, no 3, to Health Center 4 to offer better services for the people in Butambala district. That man bust the government properly. That government does not care for the people. Only to return to parliament to award himself 500 million. Did he take the money to Bolo Health Center for which he was there busting the government? So there is a hypocrisy on behalf. Even MPs in opposition are very corrupt. With the example now the one I've given you. So that therefore I want to say that when we talk about corruption, as I said before, it doesn't have tribe, it doesn't have religion, it doesn't have color, it doesn't have sex, it doesn't have party. It is the human sin, human weakness. We should deal with it like that. I gave you the glorious example of the Atolo in Arua, who was strangled to death by the community because of becoming corrupt, just because of 3 million of PDM money.
I like the way you are bringing it. We as stakeholders, we have to play a collective effort. The legislator, the executive, someone mentioned.
I wanted to end something. Please.
I just want to. You're ending with
just let me end something so that my brother can understand.
Ordinary citizen, or this, we move out there. We share a lot with people.
Yes.
And there was a colleague who was asking me because he thinks I have a lot of information about the response to some of these things.
Yes.
So he was like, now top government officials implicated in the Karamoja Iron Seeds scandal included the Vice President, Prime Minister Robin Anabanja, Speaker of Parliament, Finance Minister Matia Kasaisa, and these are all people who are appointed by the President. And the President, like I said, has the powers to institute investigations and also maybe take some of these people out of the lights when he sees that some of these issues are critical. And these are still the people who are serving the government. So it comes back to Oguzu's question of what the president is doing. That I wanted you to have a response.
Very good. Now I want to respond to that collectively with the example I was going to submit.
Okay.
You know, I like to make the examples local too, so that our people can know that this corruption is not just in Kampala, it is even here with us. You see this road from Arua city to Nebi. Do you know why it is disturbing us? Do you know why our backs are suffering from the numerous potholes? When they were constructing this road, our only brothers and sisters, the big men and women that time, went to ask the contractor for fuel, went to solicit bribe from the contractor. The contractor gave them the money and went to compromise the quality of the road, reduce the road, reduce the thickness of the tarmac. We are suffering today because of the corruption of our own people. Ata nyaki said that the Drio 7 is a road te amogundio nyoroni. Yes.
So what has happened to the road from Nebi to Pakwati to Karuma?
It is the same story. I will tell you. It is the same story. Now,
brother,
please, I wanted to answer the other question. I'm answering, then I give
1
you.
minute because we are going for
the question you have just said.
Yes, I don't want my client
Please, the question I've just said. I actually led the expose or exposure of the corruption involving the lost iron sheet for the Karachunas in Karamoja. The people at the engine of that corruption were Honorable Minister Goreti Chitutu, Mary, and the Honorable Nandutu Agnes, who were in charge of the iron, who were the custodian, the court. So, and action is ongoing, the court. And if they will be convicted, they are not small fish, they were the very one who distributed to others.
Commissioner, I have something.
Allow him to.
There's only one thing he has to give in the next 30 seconds.
Yes.
The ministers he has mentioned, the poor ministers, because speakers there, many ministers are there, who were the beneficiaries of this iron sheet. Where are they and where are the two?
The question is, I've just told you very clearly, the people who distributed the iron sheet were the two. So we have started from the engine, and eventually everybody will be captured.
We are back with the discussion. But before, let's move to Honorable Drakuaziz. For some 2 or 3 minutes, you've been listening to us. You've been quiet for some
Absolutely.
time. I want to take your quick
I'm a responsible guy, and I do more listening, very, very objectively. I like the discussion, and of course I would want you also to guide it to ensure that the objectives for this particular conversation is well understood and is not lost.
Yes.
This issue of corruption shall never end. I had already made a submission that it begins with the head of state, it begins with all of us, key stakeholders, to have a positive attitude on how we can use the resources we have in a more responsible way to develop this country. Two, I want to agree and categorically say that all these institutions which are established to fight corruption are more effective in local governments than at the state level. Because we have had evidences where people have been implicated with the evidence, they have been interdicted, paraded before the courts of law in various local governments, and they have lost their jobs because there's evidence which has proven beyond doubt in the courts of law that they have involved in corruption and which have led to their interdictions. Very evident. But why is this practical, very hard and difficult at the state level? That is the question. I agree with the Commissioner that truly our President is making an effort. He has a lot of powers. In fact, our Constitution has given President Museveni a lot of powers. The powers, if he deliberately and stubbornly enforced them, this vice, corruption, would have been a history. I was, in a very simple way, making a conversation privately with him. What has changed Rwanda from the 1994 genocide to a middle-income country in Uganda? And they are borrowing all the good laws from Uganda. What is that that has changed? It is from the leadership. I agree with Museveni as our president, but we needed him to put more effort to enforce and use his powers. If you look in terms of the political position and political dispensation in Uganda, at least in one way, within the NRM government, Museveni has a lot of powers. He can influence the MPs that he will want to see. And that's why right now, even in the parliament, majority of the MPs are NRM. And we know where his interest is. Their summons, their conversations, their meetings, where these people are provoked to understand and take responsibility and allegiance to whatever he wants. Brother Matua, this is the truth. However, Parliament, the former Speaker, may his soul rest in peace, Olanya was there, Brother Yume was there. Those are the previous ones. These issues were not coming like this. And the President did a lot for this current Speaker to be the Speaker. It was very competitive. But why? Why has he not taken responsibility? Why are the key people in the technocrat offices, the commissioners, the directors, permanent secretaries, not resigning when actually there are a lot of corruption cases in the offices? Brother Bakit and other brothers, this is a connected collaboration, it's a deal. This budget issue of defrauding this country has started some years back. It's for very several budget periods. And I want to say that these goons who are technocrats in those offices agree with the politicians. Please, remember now with the Uganda Human Rights Commission, we're going to hike this, give us 20%. 20%!
That is the syndicate you are talking about.
The 20%!
Where they work together, which is 17 billion.
You see? 20%
and
is to go to specific people.
3 people
just
wanted
imagine
to
how 20% would have done. I wanted how this discussion can inform the local development and mindset of the local people, especially within our context. I like the example Matoya had brought in terms of the quality of infrastructure development within our areas, which are as a result of kickbacks.
Yes.
There's one person who has gone to history, Moses Yali. The other year, last year, I was in Ejuman. You see that road?
which is done by Strawback. If you went to Jumani, you cross that river from Laropi across, you will see the kind of road which Strawback is putting. Why? Moses Ali, as the son of soil, has good and rich interest for pure development for his people. You will think even there are a good number of roads in the western part of Uganda or in other countries. At least I've gone to Kigali. That is the standard of road which is in Rwanda.
Yeah.
Why is it not this one of Arua Koraba Road? It is not the same. Why is it not this one which is built by SBI and Mogoya, Arua, Nebi? You see, that is what is called by leadership and taking responsibility where it is needed, because we want future. So as I had observed, the issue of corruption is mind change. And this mind change can only be spearheaded by the head of state, like Kagame, what he's doing. Thank you very much.
We are here to offer solutions, and of course our discussions are geared towards offering lasting solutions to the corruption issue in the country. Yes, Teda Spazi Bakitari Simura and Dinga Uruko Swinga Zuara DCV, especially Taban, who said actually there are ministers who are taking these things back and say, we are sorry, we took these things that do not belong to us. But and plus the other issues to do with the road scandals in West Nile. Maybe let's have quick take from all of us who have something to say about the callers.
Am I starting?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank all the listeners who have been able to call. I've seen a lot of calls coming in.
We are still even to pick
which we are going to pick. I've also received questions from Honorable Oguzu and my brother, Mr. Tibuni here. I want to start with what Mr. Tibuni is saying. We are talking about corruption at the center. What about corruption at the local government level? I want to tell you corruption has actually shifted to local government. Yes?
Use local language.
Yes. Madri Atibuni Zimando Akini. Amadilo yo jaramu madria. Kini aramu center ale kambala le adule. Aramu amavu local government yayo ya. Alo lumadini kini aramu egodisat ble local government yayo. Ini andra udubani bala zoda si udu teusi bawi result as if ebi fia mavoru sitede ya kwa dosiara. Bandra imaruni efozo yubosi ni idune deke. Baba nazifa to ne deke ndo. Udu teusi bate baba nazifa to ndo deke. They were trying to access the line. So they were aliens trying to access the system. The system had rejected them. In fact, I was almost going to arrest people. But the ED of U-Boss, guided. He pleaded with me to allow the censors to first end and he will give me evidence. And those who made the mistake, let me tell you this. Those who made the mistake must prepare for the arrest. I don't romance anything concerning corruption. Yes? In the PDM, I've just given, maybe a cheta the Fed, send the PDM already. May GM reported Wangiri, send the Gametele, a Kutilia Alwalupa, Mesu send the Parialo. A Kutilia de Mazia, Misu, Vagupi, Riba Fascended, is Zamvaniba Fascended, and the Riba Fascended. Aramuazeru, Madisitionia. PDM, my dear. Drus, it also do Lucy. Amamo Miogama, Pamvone. Oh, Amara Sisiru, Amasat Boromi. Amamere, Wall City, Maria Miogama, Pamvone. Baram de Motoro. Dika. Wiki the there wiki as an opera, Amamodo PDM, Mapamvone. Ameri Udinera, Akutia Lunde, Bane Susendeni. The Taba Luntasan de Suni, a tended Ayo for a household Amazakozo, PDM Madame Merediera. Ikamu, Minister of Health, budget Minister of Health free, 30% of the budget of Minister of Health is given for promotion of primary health care. By the way, 75% of the diseases that affect our people are preventable. Accordingly, government budgets 30% of the health budget for promotion of primary health care. What does this money do? To immunize children, to deworm them, to encourage pregnant women to go for antenatal care, to sensitize people, to promote good health practices by defecating in latrines, by washing hands after visiting latrines, collecting health data, how many people have TB, red eyes. In Arua city here, that money was embezzled. about 700 million. Yes? How did I get to know? When we sat to analyze performance of health sector, PHC, primary health care sector, was not having a report. And I raised this question. By the way, I tried to find out whether it is happening in other districts. It was happening in Kisoro, it was happening in Amuria. So when we went to Chankwanje, I raised this question to the Vice President to institute a national probe in that sector. That money is being abused. And here, when I asked the initiative, by the way, this money is supposed to go to the last mile health center. If it is health center 2 or 3, then the activity is created at that health center level for the community outreach to do what I've told you. It was eaten here in Arua city. It is a corruption area I'm looking at. And those who ate it, they should be prepared for my action. I will do proper acid washing. Yes! I am an anti-corruption crusader, a national icon, and I cannot keep quiet.
That confirms his fears that...
So I therefore want to agree with my brother Tibuni that actually there is corruption where? In local government.
Okay.
The previous financial year, 900 million for roads we are not accounted for in Arua city here. When I wrote to the former town clerk to give me information about it, he took a leave. He went to Namaingo, and I rang him from Namaingo to come to meet me in Kampala. He claimed he was very busy in the garden. I transferred him during the leave. It was me.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, there are people who seem to be itching to also still ask questions as we continue with the discussion.
So maybe can I answer Tabani's question? Can I just answer Tabani's question?
Yes.
Can I answer that just?
07368.
Can I just answer Tabani's question
You can
before we move away?
Yes.
Tabani said the president does not want to fight corruption. Taban, that is not true. The president has appointed your brother Matua Job Richard with instruction to come and fight corruption. Can somebody who does not want to fight corruption do that? The president has come out publicly to say that the corruption in parliament and directed CID to take action. 5 MPs and 1 lawyer who took the money for compensation of cooperative union are in a prison right now on remand. Is that somebody who does not want to fight corruption? The president has established anti-corruption unit of State House because of the weakness of other established agencies of anti-corruption units. The IGG, the DPP, Director of Public Prosecution, the CID, the Auditor General. By the way, I have even heard Auditor General officials, they come and they collect money from people at the local government level to exonerate them, and I am following them. Let me pick one of them. I will jump on them. The way a lion jumps on an antelope. Are we there? So I want to close. Hey.
Malenio visited in summary with actually your last words, then their last words.
Yeah, actually, I rang the city engineer. Even this one which climbs passing through Barifa. There's a lot of dust there. Now I pass through corridors. I was also complaining. I caught flu, and I'm about to catch a cough over it. I told him that I am also one of the people who complain about it. So I agree with this person who has talked about the road. So I'm going to raise it to them. You know, I am not here to deny anything. I am also a victim of that. Then my brother said he is worried about me. Let me tell you this. Is it better to keep quiet, to fold our tongue and sing glory or clap a hand for wrongdoers? I would say this. I would rather be dead in a ditch than to fail to defend my country. We must challenge the corrupt people. We must do away with corruption in Uganda, because the corruption has gone to industrial scale level, and our failure to do so is very dangerous for God and my country.
Thank you very much, Deputy RCC. Thank you much for taking that opportunity of coming. Yes, let's go to my brother.
Yes, thank you so much once again for this opportunity. I just want to say this on corruption. One, our people of Arua city and other districts in West Nile, and I want to request and be humble to the contract awarding committees at this district level, because this is the month they are awarding contracts to the local markets and other places, and there has been a lot of cry from the different people who might have shown interest. Please do the justice, ensure that the right person gets the contract.
Okay.
But above all, let's have concerted effort. Let those who know about corruption report to the institution that are to fight corruption. And those who are to fight corruption, if such information is given to you, please take action against this, so that we have a Uganda that is free from corruption.
Thank you very much, my
They
brother.
are reporting. I have stopped people paying money at the gate of the main hospital.
Yes.
As far as we are collecting money from people
It's
who
my
bring
time.
food for their food.
Eating in my time.
Wonderful.
They are reporting. I want to defend them. They
I
are
would
reporting.
for Mr. Bakit, I would for Midi, I would for Ndugu Amatwa Midi, and dear listener. Iyo corruption ndio amecho deko anira irire madiria and aleni reko. Amadi yodini ka deba de nde uru dale rora at country level amata de local dire le amubiki ama ekata fe ayo de tizo. Because Amavu community here, Ikadu, Arua Central City, Vadia, we still have people who are drinking from Inyao River. We are still having people who do not have toilets. We are still having people or communities that do not have access road. Not even for a motorbike. This is deliberate. Send the Amavu local through the local revenue Vawadere needs a leadership that can take responsibility, that can acknowledge and work for the people. So it's our role as people. Sa utita election vuruka chabo, let us not only elect people because Masurudi Madinidi. Let's go for people who have the material in terms of ideology.
Thank you very much, Honorable.
Maybe I wanted to just thank the people of Arua, if you can allow me. I want to thank the people of Arua for reporting corruption. I want to tell my brothers who is in the studio here, I have stopped corruption where people as far as we are collecting money from the regional referral hospital,
You mentioned
from
that,
people who bring food for the patient. Can you imagine?
Okay.
Even for packet.
Okay.
I have so I want to thank them.
I've paid several.
Thank you for listening.
You have paid it. You are also a victim here. It has ended. I have stopped it.
And we have come to the end of the Agbatara show. It has been interesting, actually. It has been lively. I must not admit that this is one of the shows that have been lively for me in my personal life as I moderate some of these discussions. Thank you very much, Bona Deputy RCC. Thank you very much, Mr. Tibune Emmanuel. And thank you very much, Honorable Dakwaziz, for coming. And our listener, thank you for always being there for us and your contributions by calling in. I am Hafiz Bakit. Bye-bye.